This is Ukdaski of We Are Change.org, joined today by John Sneisen, who is a financial historian, and in Canada, Tim Pashot, the Liberty Advisor, of course, is always here. He is in Arizona. I am in Pennsylvania, and in this video, we are going to be telling you what we are seeing on the ground, the good, the bad, the ugly, as well as some important news updates around. And you guess what? Yeah, the crisis and the sickness that, of course, everyone's dealing with. And the first article I kind of wanted to throw out there is this article by Zero Hedge that is titled, Molecular Biologist Says This Sickness Could Have Leaked from Wuhan Biolab. And to me, this is kind of a no-brainer as one of the bigger possibilities out there, especially since, the only level 4 lab in all of China is located near the epicenter start of this. The official story from the Chinese just keeps changing. That patient 0 was this guy that flew afterwards to another province. Now we're seeing that it's maybe some other shrimp seller. Another conflicting part of this story, this origin story, is that this virus, according to many epidemiologists and many molecular biologists, came from specifically a shoehorn bat. And there have been no traces of the shoehorn bat sold at this supposed wet market that was the epicenter. That raises a lot of questions to me. Guys, what do you guys think? We still don't know for sure, but do you think that this is a naturally occurring virus or potentially something that came from Biolab? I'm going to throw it out there.
Well, I think it's the Swedes, by my personal opinion, but that's nothing. No, anyways, it's a joke, but I don't know. It's hard to tell where these viruses come from. It's like the Lyme disease. That situated out of the Plum, isn't it Plum Island? Yep. The bio warfare factory over there in the United States. So who knows what they could have done? Who knows what these guys are up to? Creating weird and crazy warfare out there. And it's, very convenient to come after, people that are over a certain age group that, are pensioners that are putting a lot of pressure on the Ponzi scheme that they created for them in the first place called, old age security and all those programs around the world. So there's a lot of weird things surrounding it. And of course, I remember watching, 2 weeks ago or something, where you had the Chinese government coming out and blaming the U.S. for, inciting and dropping off the virus in Wuhan. So it's very hard to tell, what could have happened here in the first place. But there's a lot of weird loose ends, and there's a lot of running around and giving so many different answers all the time that I feel like there's no substance to the real source of the factor.
And now the U.S. government is going after the Chinese government, saying that they're lying about their numbers. And I'm like, finally, they're catching up to this. But again, we should try to prevent a bigger all-out war. But I just kind of wanted to throw it out there with what people are believing, what people are seeing. There's a lot of different theories out there. Tim, if you want to tell us some of yours, you can before we get into the next story, or we could just jump into the next story, which is also eye-opening to say the least.
I just want to point out that, how funny it is that things have really come full circle here, that, those of us who, were believing conspiracy theories, we were always told that we were crazy. And now the official theory is that this came from a bat. So I just wanted to point out that everything has come completely full circle. I'm of the opinion that this was some sort of bioweapon, and I'm not sure if it was released on purpose or an accident. That's yet to be determined. But, you follow the money, look who's benefiting from all this stuff. Now there's a big push of, I'm sure, with Bill Gates, everyone has to go get a vaccine. Everyone, need a vaccine to go travel, or, hey, now we're going to have, marry in this, digital dollar in with, some sort of social credit score. So I'm probably getting a little bit too far ahead of myself into some real, I wish that these weren't crazy conspiracies, but this is what the rulers are pushing. And so, yeah, I'm of the opinion that this was engineered to some degree, but I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist. But, you just take a look at the patterns of what governments have done in the past. And I think there was a story of Harvard professors who were caught sneaking stuff out, or maybe their underlings or research assistants were Chinese spies sneaking out different samples of coronavirus. And yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire, Luke, and there's certainly a whole lot of smoke to be had.
Yeah, and one of the biggest kind of smoke screens we're getting out there is that the government's going to come in and protect you by giving themselves all the power and authority over you. And I thought the United Kingdom took the cake with how ridiculous they were. I mean, there's literally police officers flying drones in the United Kingdom, shaming people for being in nature by themselves.
And having the drone program was a conspiracy theory until 2011. It wasn't even, I mean, everybody knew about it, and the real program was the CIA's drone program. That's the big secret out there. But now local police departments are using this all over the world, even here in California, in the United Kingdom. There's also other footage I saw of people getting pulled over, right, and getting in trouble and getting a fine for driving in their car. And then the police officers say, you got to disperse and walk in the street. And I'm like, what? This is totally insane. But now we're reaching another crescendo level here with, of course, the president of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, that is now ordering his police and military to kill citizens who are defying their lockdown. He said, quote, shoot them dead. Holy cow. Well, what's your guys' reaction, John?
Well, I think it's a build-up of what just happened in India with the massive lockdown. You know, banned all public traffic, so people had to walk 500 miles to get to their homes. And then they beat people with sticks, and I guess somebody had to be crazier. Who knows what the next step will be? Probably any other government out there. It never surprises me actually what they do in order to keep their citizens at bay. I guess it's harder to keep people at bay in Philippines than it is here in Canada, where everybody sits polite in their household and are scared. So. It depends on the obedience of the citizenry, the reaction, I guess, to this cause.
Yeah, Tim, how do you see this all unfolding?
First, I thought John was maybe going to, give us a Proclaimer song of they'd walk 500 miles and they'd walk 500 more afterwards. But with all this stuff, I mean, let's not give them any ideas of what to do over here. So, I mean, they're breaking up 1-year-olds. What was it in L.A. we saw? They're like 32
1-year-old birthday party, yeah.
Yeah, 32
with police officers coming in together, arm by arm. I mean, that's how you spread the sickness, you idiots. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, to protect and to serve, everybody, the C word, and that's the Corona word. So, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's not surprising, but, this is what authoritarians want. And, Trump is really in a position where he was in a no-win position because, all the liberals and everyone's saying, he should have acted stronger. And I'm sure there's certain things that he should have done. But, there's probably blame to go all the way around because, nobody really was taking this, super, super serious back in the beginning of February. I mean, I wore a mask through the international side of the airport February 19th coming back through Acapulco, and literally the Border Patrol agents were like, why do you have a mask on? Like they were just like so perplexed. And I was pretty much the only one except for in Mexico City, they were wearing, a lot of the agents down there were wearing masks. So it's funny that, in Mexico City, they're ahead of the curve from where they are in America. Well, I guess it's not surprising because, it's usually...
I sat beside a guy on the plane down to Mexico City with a mask on and he was Chinese. He was traveling from Toronto down to Mexico City. So.
Yeah, John and
You racist bigot! How dare you do that?
And I sat next to an Asian couple coming down there too. And then John actually did get very sick down, but it was over like Montezuma's revenge.
I did get the flu when I got back, so I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that they got this before the new
right here.
Some data showing that could be the case. There's some data showing that could not be the case.
Well, I didn't have any coughing or anything.
I am 99% sure I had it coming when I flew back from New York January 2nd. Had a layover in DC. If you notice, there was a 1 month time period where I didn't make a single video. I'm making 4 videos a day usually right now. I went a whole month without making a video because it put me out for about, a week or two. And then I had to then do a whole bunch of work to catch up. But, I remember I was texting some doctors I knew and saying, hey, this is like the weirdest, symptoms I've ever had. It's not like anything else I've ever really experienced. I had the chills where I was just like violently shaking, for about 2 or 3 days straight. Now I'm a pretty tough guy. I'm almost never get sick. I had perfect attendance in high school for 4 years straight. So that makes me real, obviously real popular with everybody. But I almost never get sick. And so this, and then my kids had the same, they were barely affected by it. We thought they had pink eye. We took them to the doctors. The doctors said, no, they don't have pink eye, even though their eyes were pink. And then, so that was one of the precursors. And so that was, and I was traveling during that time frame. My wife got very, very sick. I didn't get nearly as sick as she did. The kids didn't get that sick at all, but it was a weird experience. And, I remember even I was texting doctors, hey man, I've never had this happen before. Josh Segerson, we went like 2 or 3 weeks without doing a single video because I was like, man, I'm down. John and I, we started a Discord. And you remember when we started the Discord and I told everybody, hey guys, I'm out of commission right now. I feel like absolute crap. And so
you hung out with Josh. Josh is always sick. That's the problem. But also similar story. I had like the perfect, healthiest year last year because I've done a lot of, smoking and drinking throughout my life. Last year, intermittent fasting, working out every day, barely drinking, maybe once a month or once every 2 months, no smoking, nothing. And then at the end of the year, around Christmas, came down with something severe twice, and it came back, and it just totally laid me out. And that's when I wasn't doing videos as well because I couldn't. I was literally.
Were you in China?
Yeah, 104 fever. While I was in Hong Kong, I do travel.
Yeah.
Non-stop. As you know, I'm in France. No, I don't do any of that. Okay, but moving on to the last story that we have, I want to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. Some of the good here is that, obviously a lot of people are being homeschooled. A lot of people are learning to be responsible for themselves. A lot of people are growing gardens and understanding that they have to depend on themselves, their families, and their communities, and not their government to take care of things, because government is not taking care of things. They made the situation that much worse. Some people say on purpose. Could be. We don't know yet. But one of the things that we're seeing is also the return of the barter system, where, of course, many people are using Facebook, another social media platform called Nextdoor, where people are exchanging items outside of the communistic, socialistic, controlled market that we're going to be doing a live stream about in just a little bit. Outside of that, and they're doing bartering, which I think is awesome. That's some of the good I'm seeing. What are you guys seeing? What's some of the good and bad that you're seeing in your local communities?
No, people are always out helping each other. We're always watching for each other here where I live. We're making sure that, especially because I live in a retirement community, you got to make sure that everybody's taken care of. If there's people that, need food or whatever, you go out and help them. So I see a lot of that. People are always, it's so funny always how people say that, we need a government because people go crazy in a crisis. I see it also opposite. I see a lot of people, look at the tsunami that happened in the Indian Ocean, how great people worked together at that time. So I think people are coming together in crisis, and we're social human beings. We're caring, and we're not like the elite that sits on top trying to have as many people as killed as possible.
You were sharing some photos before we got on here, though. What are some of those? And Tim, can we pull some of those up?
Yeah, let me a second over here, because just how it's being shared, just a little bit different format. So we got one picture over there. Let's see if we got another over here. Again, I don't have the entire photo, just of how it's.
So what they started to do here in this is Selkirk, Manitoba, Safeway store, and they actually are now rationing food for people, but being a good citizen and being less prepared if this goes really bad. We're starting to see food shortages everywhere now. A lot of shelf space are starting to shorten. So like what they've done here is actually, when I went to the store, I had to clean my hands. They cleaned the cart. And then I was able to go inside. There was even a guard there that stood there together with the employees. And then so you go in, but then they have a whole bunch of rations on eggs, on bread, and on I believe it was what else was there? There was sugar. The most important things that people use, to be able to survive. That don't have a lot of money, that can't afford, to buy the nice organic stuff and so on.
Yep. Tim, what are you seeing?
Well, I did want to point out that, the CIA was actually, I remember it was like heavily involved in the Nextdoor app. And so that's almost sort of like now you're seeing people ratting out their neighbors, and you're seeing, now I was on Nextdoor when it first came out. I mean, I probably still have a profile on there, but all it was like 70, 80-year-old ladies or stay-at-home moms complaining about, this person being too loud or this person. So, I mean, it's like the perfect Stasi app to go rat out your neighbors. Like, oh, hey, I saw Susie going outside and playing with some other kids over there, and let's go get, and then let's go find her for $1,000, which there are now towns in Texas that are actually finding people for, for doing those types of things. But let's take a look here on the screen. So we got return of the barter system, where 3 cans of beer are worth 1 toilet roll. In Facebook.
Coronas?
That's a good deal. That's it. Corona, by the way, has stopped production in Mexico because they're seen as non-essential. by the way.
Also, they stopped non-essential production. Wow.
Well, that ties in perfectly, and we didn't even plan this. So I have another article here that I didn't even share with you guys. Vermont orders Walmart, Target to stop selling non-essential items in store. And I want to give a shout out to Jay Noon. So Jay's big time voluntarist, part of the Freedom's Phoenix crew, living up in Massachusetts, also tied in with Free State, and he was sending different things where they've been banning selling certain items and like certain stores, forcing them to close down. And that's in New Hampshire, where it's live free or die. And I had to go in my phone to pull up exactly what he was sending me. But it's just a crazy situation of everything that's going on. But the good news is that people are now realizing that maybe we could change the paradigm of how we think, that maybe we don't need government indoctrination centers. One idea I've had for a long time, and is why don't we just have like the best people in the world teaching these things. I don't mean like, Paul Krugman masterclass and his bullshit, but I mean somebody like, a real, like, why don't you get trained by the best professor in the world on, history, or, then, obviously they have to see, who's the one teaching it. But what if you had, these online schools where then maybe you go into, maybe all the kids go to some sort of room and they've got like teachers' assistants, but then you can help the kids out with exactly what they need, but you're getting taught through online courses. And there's no reason why. The thing is, they want to keep people dumbed down, enslaved. Basically, all school is basically welfare for the middle class to have their kids
it's a babysitting place.
It's government. It's government babysitting is basically what it is. And I think I would have been better off if I never went to school. But they didn't have smartphones weren't around until right when I graduated college, which is also right on cue for the financial crisis. So there are a lot of opportunities. And now another one is not only more people doing like teleconferencing, but now also people who are able to barter and just think about new paradigms. So I think we should make lemonade out of the lemons that we're getting right now. It's just whether or not they I guess deem lemons to be essential or not to whether we can do that.
Every situation is determined by you and your own reaction. That power of reaction is a lot more powerful than you actually think, and that's why I've been spending my time on a farm in Pennsylvania. By the way, I've been very lucky to find an amazing property here. If anyone else has farms in northeast Pennsylvania that they need looking after, or they know that are available for short-term leases, or have some property available for purchase, let me know. I'm definitely
going farming.
I'm not coming back to New York City. That seems like an extremely bad idea. Absolutely insane situation down there. But here, I've been doing what I've been kind of working at slowly throughout my entire life, and that's working towards radical self-reliance. I've been doing bow hunting. Yes, I have a crossbow, and then I have a compound bow. I've been doing like Wim Hof breathing method and learning how to cook and all this other stuff. So again, your time is determined by you and you only. That's how I've been spending it. Got any property in Northeast Pennsylvania? Let me know.
What's really funny, Luke? I just watched a French movie that just came out where it's really trying to portray preppers in a terrible view. It was on Netflix. It's called Decline or something. The Decline, yeah. And it's basically everybody, like this group of people that goes to a prepper place, and then they're creating bombs and they're learning how to hunt and be self-reliant and garden and all this stuff. And then they create bombs, and then this guy has a bomb blow up, and then they all kill each other because that's what they do, these preppers.
There's a bunch of like sniffling articles by these like yuppies, in all these metropolitan areas. They're like, look at these crazy preppers. They're preparing for the worst. And now, look at how the situation has turned. All right, we're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, especially the larger economic ramifications, more on this channel. John, Tim, thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned for more here on Change the News.